Welcome back, Astro listeners, to this new moon edition of the Star Lady Soul Reader Network. This is Media Monk, and as always, I have our shining star of the zodiac, Star Lady. Hi, Star Lady.
Hello, Media Monk.
And we all know Star Lady is indeed Kim Marie, the managing director for our Evolutionary Astrology Network. EAN continues to provide the finest EA course for certifying new astrologers in our method. And we also have a lot of forecasting webinars, podcasts like these, other materials on our website at www.evolutionaryastrology.net. If you're interested in your own consultation, private time with Kim Marie, just dial 1-605-348-5111 or find that consultation page on the website and get your order in, and I'll call you back with some times and get you scheduled with her. All right, so New Moon Edition, we've got a little bit to talk about, so I'll just turn it over to you, Kim, and welcome everybody.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our New Moon of Pisces podcast. That new moon is going to be in the afternoon of February 27th at almost 10 degrees Pisces. But probably the biggest thing that we might be anticipating is the fact that the following day, February 28th, after sunset, we will have 7 planets in that evening sky up to what we call the midheaven. 5 of those 7 planets will be visible. So astrology, astronomers, some in the news media, they talked about it last month, but it wasn't necessarily accurate what you were seeing. But it will be on Friday. So if you by any chance have a cloudless evening, Friday the 28th, and you can get outside and look in that western sky after sunset, look directly above, you can see the planets. Now, Saturn will maybe be visible. It will set first. It's going to go visibly. Saturn, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Mars up ahead in the heavens. So definitely get out there. We're kind of iffy. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it or not, although Media Monk and I will try to get out there and see it. Neptune and Uranus are in the lineup, but you really can't. You don't see Neptune. Very, very, very rarely can you see Saturn with the naked eye. It's possible sometimes, but it just doesn't happen. Got some telescopes, you can see all 7 of those planets in the evening skies. And it's kind of what we've been looking at coming into these the months of February and March for sure, and some of it going on into April. And that is the fact that we've got Mars freshly direct, February 23rd at, 17 degrees Cancer? Yep, 17 degrees Cancer. So Mars is just slowly starting to move forward, 2.5 months retrograde from about 6 degrees Leo back to 17 Cancer. If you're watching anything on the public level or political level in the U.S., oh boy, try starting something on a Mars retrograde and see how well it moves forward for you. You can just see the planets in action. However, what I was going to say next is that we have a Venus retrograde coming up March 1st through April 12th. And then we have a Mercury retrograde March 15th through April 7th. They're both going to go retrograde in early Aries, and they're going to retrograde back into late Pisces. As Venus and Mercury have their retrogrades in Aries, Pisces, they're going to go over Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, North Node in Pisces. The sun's going to join them in its transit through Pisces into Aries and go over those planets, North Node as well. We've got a conglomerate of planetary energy in late Pisces, early Aries. Death and rebirth, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. Literally, all the prayers to Pope Francis, patron saint of Francis of Assisi, who I absolutely adore with his love of animals. We'll see how he does through this. I actually have an uncle in the hospital with the same condition as Pope Francis, a few years younger than him. So I've got like a 1-2 observation going on right there. Sometimes it's not just going to be literal with humans. It can be literal with things going on. If you're watching the layoffs of federal workers, the freezing of programs, the chaos that is taking place. And as I say, we don't even have Saturn and Neptune into Aries yet. But we also are going to have that death and rebirth going on a figurative level as well. When Venus goes retrograde, it's a review of our value systems in addition to relationships. Because what we value is going to determine what we need, which determines that which we desire. I have no desire to be in a relationship with anybody from Hollywood, nor do I have any desire to have a designer purse. Those are not in my value systems. You, me, all of us are going to be reviewing what is most important to us right now. And then we are going to be realigning our needs and desires with what we perceive to be important. As Mercury goes retrograde in Aries Pisces, it is going to be reviewing those values with Venus and communicating about them. Big discussions, little discussions, multiple discussions all over the place. Let me give you dates and degrees one more time. And by the way, if you Google the Washington State Astrological Association, I just did a webinar for them. It is purchased, but you support them, and they do a lot for promoting budding astrologers in the northwest part of the United States, Washington State Astrological Association. So you can get more details there. However, let me repeat these again. Venus is retrograde March 1st through April 12th. Venus goes retrograde at just shy of 11 degrees Aries, and it goes direct at 24.5 Pisces. Mercury goes retrograde again March 15th at 9.5 degrees Aries, and then Mercury goes direct April 7th, just shy of 27 Pisces. Mercury's retrograde cycle is about 3 weeks. Venus only goes retrograde once every year and a half, and its retrograde cycle is about 6 weeks. So the Mercury retrograde is sandwiched in between Venus. But again, Mercury's going to accent the information coming through, the communications that we have to go through, how we have all these deep Piscean thoughts, and what we really have to be watching out for right now on this new moon, February 27th, 9.5 Pisces, we have Moon, Sun, Saturn, Mercury, North Node, Neptune, all in Pisces. That's why we can see them in that evening sky. And when you get a stellium of Piscean energy, one of the biggest distortions is disillusionment. You know, my mantra for Pisces, I am in wholeness with my reality. I am in wholeness with my reality. So when reality doesn't match my beliefs, it turns us inward to go, well, what do I believe? What do I know to be truth? And so these Piscean words of disillusionment and depression and despondency and letdown, that leads to escapism and head in the sand, and I'm just going to check out with a substance because reality's too hard to take. It can be what many of us are doing on a collective level with how the election turned out. I will remind you, Donald Trump only won the popular vote in the United States by 1.5%. And a lot of that was because the mega crowd was energized and the progressive independent crowd was not. He does not have the majority of thought in this country. And so as you go through this Piscean plethora in your own sense of how do I make sense of everything, it is for you to deeply understand the universe, to understand that consensus consciousness, approximately 7 other people on the planet, can't think outside the space-time they live in. I want inflation to go down, and I don't want to pay so much for the price of eggs. That's all they were looking at. They couldn't see the threat that Donald Trump was to democracy in this country. I have hope. Do I think we're going to have chaos with Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries, with Uranus moving into Gemini, with Pluto new in Aquarius? Yes. Stay tuned. It will be motivating all of us because all these planets in Pisces, they're going to move into Aries. Mercury will move into Aries. Mercury will be in Aries. Ooh, what is it? I think Mercury is in Aries with its retrogrades totally maybe about 3 months, if I remember correctly. Venus with its retrogrades is going to be in, wait a minute, Mercury will be in Aries a little over a month, back and forth with the retrograde cycle. Venus will be in Aries, okay, about 3 months back and forth with its retrograde cycle. Saturn's going to go in there and be in Aries for 2.5 years. Neptune will be for 14 years. We're going to have these planets go into Aries, and that's going to further this backlash of anger in the consensus world, waking up to the immediacy of more inflation, of prices rising, of all this chaos going on, of their own areas getting hit with all the slashes and cuts taking place. Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, if he would get everything in the bill that he wanted, nonpartisan congressional budget people say he would add $11 trillion to the debt. That stands at $36 trillion. $5,000 trillion for the tax cuts, $6 trillion for all his pet things. The defense, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid take up 3/4 of our annual budget. You cannot find the cuts. Pluto and Aquarius, sooner or later, is going to go, wait a minute, how come 2/3 of the corporations in this country don't pay any income taxes? How come we can't tax the billionaires like every other modern country in the world does? Okay, I'll get off my little political statistics here for you. But this is what we are looking at with Venus retrograde in Aries, Pisces, and what are my values? What are my values personally? What are my values collectively? This is what we're going to be looking at as facts and figures come out. Now, we have a lot of right-wing media, but we also have the internet these days. And you get people mad enough, and they'll start searching for things in different areas. So, I will say, do your best to simplify your world, because that's one of the most ultimate messages of Pisces. I am in wholeness with my reality. How do I simplify my world so that I find inner peace, so that I can balance rest and work, so that I can balance activity and rejuvenation? And for most of us in this material world, and, the plethora to just buy in the materialism, I really do think that might get some wake-up calls over the next few years. If you're not familiar, you can Google this, February 28th, which is also that Friday. That's an interesting little coinky-dink. February 28th is the Don't Buy Anything Day. And if you have to, go to your local business and support them. It is the grassroots uprising by some of the masses that are saying, we, the people, have the ultimate power if we would recognize it. Not either political party, not the corporations, and not those who think they're in charge. If we, the people, will stand up in this country, we can change things. Stay tuned. I've been saying, when transiting Pluto in Aquarius gets to the south node of the USA chart, July 4th, 1776, anytime, when Pluto in Aquarius gets to 6.5 degrees Aquarius, we might really see the explosion of public rebellions. Oh, by the way, that's going to be 2026 with the midterm elections. So, just a couple of little details for you. Mercury's going to conjunct the North Node March 1st, 27.5 Pisces. Mercury's going to conjunct Neptune March 2nd, 29 Pisces. Mercury's going to conjunct Venus March 11th at about 9 degrees Aries. Again, there's going to be like 3 sets of conjunctions with Sun, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, going over Saturn, North Node, Neptune, clustered late Pisces. The first conjunctions were happening early February and early March. The second conjunctions are going to more or less happen the second half of March. And then the third conjunctions are going to go into early, middle April. So let's just say February, March, April again. Do your best. Review what is most important to you and align your values, your needs, your Mars desires, and Mars actions with that. When Venus retrograde follows Mars retrograde, the Mars retrograde desires coming first, we kind of, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. We all have desires, okay? We're here in physical form to learn through exhausting our desired nature. You don't want to know how many lifetimes. We all have these desires, but Mars retrograde first, followed by Venus. Venus says, oh, wait a minute, you think you want that, but do you really want that? Let's just think about it a little more. And so all of this Mars energy to move forward in your life, you can even look at this extracted out to that public political area. Think Elon Musk right now trying to do this and that. Anything that you think that you want to just accomplish, if it's not in highest and best for you, Venus retrograde is going to come along, and it's going to have a double emphasis with Mercury retrograde, and it's going to say, I don't think this is really going to happen. We're going to have to look at this a little more. And if those Mars desires are still moving forward in April and May, then you can really start to accomplish something with them. Venus and Mars, they're a great planetary pair together. They're not just about intimate relationships, and of course they are, but they're about Venus needs and Mars desires. And so we're in a big review right now. Take your time. Slow down. One more time. What's really most important to you? New moon in Pisces, shy of 10 degrees. What would you have me know, Source? What would you have me do, Source? My great mantras for Pisces. Well, Needy Monk, that was a little rattle. Mercury's going to go into Aries while he unmutes. March 3rd. It's going to be there to March 29th, and it's retrograding back into Pisces. We talked about that a little bit. Oh, by the way, Medium Monk. Our Mercury retrograde is going to be March 12th, 5 to 7 p.m.
March 12th, 5 to 7. Okay, gotcha.
Our Mercury retrograde webinar, Aries Pisces.
Is that what night of the week is that, Star Lady?
Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, we've moved it up an hour, so to take advantage of Mountain Standard Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for all the research, honey. You did a great job. That's short and sweet, but a lot of power in those clusters of planets in the sky right over the ascendant. So. Pay attention to how you feel. How does it make you feel? How does it make me feel? No doubt about that. And also, I just kind of wanted to let everybody know, if you want to take a deeper look at these outer planet ingresses that Star Lady referred to in this podcast, Pluto and Aquarius, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, all changing signs soon. Go get that great Ingress Decade 6-hour workshop. It'll give you a deeper look. You'll see the entire webinar, all the slides available for printout. That's on the Forecasting Webinars page on the website. So with that.
I thought of something else, Minima.
Oh, go ahead.
I used to do this once upon a time, and we talked about this on one of our walk and talks. I'm going to re-implement my Venus retrograde special. While Venus is retrograde, I will do compatibility sessions with no extra charge on the second chart. In other words, I usually charge a little extra fee whenever I do compatibility, intimate partners, friends, parent-child, whoever you want a compatibility session with. Right now during Venus retrograde, no extra charge for the extra person's chart, compatibility, synastry, and composite between you.
That's a heck of a value, because it takes a lot of permutations in those charts, to do a synastry, composite, and a relationship reading like she's offering. So I'll go ahead and price that out on that personal consultation page of the site. That additional charge, usually a $50 additional fee, so you can get that whole compatibility reading between parent, child, again, relationships, all different kinds of those relationships in our lives. Get it for just the price of the consultation, or $150. So I'll have that priced out. And just make sure when you go through the ordering process to include all the birth data information for the two people involved in the chart. So, and with that, I'll say thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the work, Star Lady. And until next full moon, move with joy and lots of passion as you look to the stars the Friday night, and enjoy that beautiful planetary vision of a very kind of rare conjunction of planets in the western setting sky. So Take advantage of that. We'll see you next time.